Hey guys, welcome to my video. My name is Bora and I am a third year medical student. This is going to be my first video. In this video, I'm going to talk about my language learning process, including my weekly and daily routine, the techniques I use while studying, the resources I benefit from, and how I proceeded while learning medicine. I will add a timeline below so you can check the part that you are interested in easily. The language learning process challenged me in my high school years. Learning any way of communication changed my entire brain system. It was like looking everything from a new perspective. While learning how the words connect and convey new meanings, using different idioms and naming things differently, it made me see the things in a way that I couldn't even imagine before. It also made me realize that my native language has both fascinating and weird aspects too. Furthermore, also learning a new language gave me access to new resources that freed me from the restriction of listening, watching, and reading what experts say in only from my country, without even realizing these restrictions. However, for 1 year, I couldn't study any language because of my university entrance exam. After the exam day, without caring about any exhaustion that I get, I started learning Japanese and English throughout summer. After that, I stayed intentionally in preparation school because of the pandemic, thinking that I could learn more languages there, since I already know enough English to pass. I started learning Italian there while studying Japanese at the same time. Learning three languages at the same time was challenging, but I thought it was manageable. While learning these three languages, my desire grew, and I had a fourth one, which is French. I thought it would be okay because I had a whole day and I could allocate 3 hours to each language. However, it didn't go as planned. After finishing the beginner level, learning them became more challenging, and as they get harder, I saw less progress. My motivation declined and I couldn't continue. So I leave all the languages behind and start gaming. But my English was still okay because I was playing games while speaking and writing in English. But unfortunately, I can't say the same thing for these three languages. Right now, I'm just learning German and I won't add any language until I become B2. Even if I want to add a new language, studying medicine and learning German at the same time is hard alone. Now, let's talk about the routine. I wake up at 6 a.m. and begin the day by reading a book for an hour. This boosts my concentration levels and make my brain work faster and more efficiently for studying. After an hour on weekdays, I start learning new things, and on weekends, I review my notes. This routine continues until 8 a.m., which is my breakfast time. On weekends, I continue studying, but on weekends, it depends on my school schedule. In the medical faculty of my university, classes are scheduled between 9 in the morning and 6 in the evening, with varying numbers of classes each day, which also change from week to week. I generally have around 2 more hours to study if the exam day isn't close. Other than that, I take a shower every 2 days and practice speaking during that time. I mentally set up a scenario where I involve people involved in a conversation. Sometimes I play the role of a waiter in a restaurant and a customer ordering something, while other times I give a speech at a lecture and ask questions about it. Throughout this practice, I discover grammar rules or words that I have forgotten or didn't understand well. The second thing I want to mention is the techniques I use while learning a new language. For word memorization, I write down words differently than the traditional method. I write the words up and the meanings down, and then I cover the meanings with a piece of paper to test my memory. This active approach prevents me from simply reading the words without truly understanding them. While it can be tiring, the effort is worth it. However, for the words that I can memorize with this technique for 2 to 3 times, I have near 3 methods for them. First technique is for the long words or the words that have more than one root. For example, if you want to learn Kaffeemühle in German, we will first look at its roots, which is composed of 2 words, Kaffee for coffee and Mühle for meal. When I learned these words, the word Kaffeemühle started to make some sense to me. Even if I don't know the meaning of it, I can imagine the thing that it could be. Actually, Kaffeemühle means a device that grinds coffee in small particles. like mill, which grinds grain into flour, which is a big particle that is cut up to small dots. This method not only helped me to understand the word's meaning, but allowed me to learn two additional words. The second technique I use is associating the words unrelated to their meaning, but related to their letters or the word. Actually, when I use this technique, I really feel creative and I am having fun while learning them. For example, to learn Junge in German, which means boy in English, I noticed the similarity between Junge and jungle in English. So I simply imagine a boy in jungle. When I see the J, U, and N letters, a forest with a boy in it comes to my mind. Even if I forget the word's meaning, I can recall the image because of its ridiculous association. The third technique I'm going to talk about involves connecting the word to pictures or videos, which I use an app called Anki for this purpose. Anki allows me to create some flashcards with various types in it, but I usually use two types of flashcards, which are closure and image occlusion enhanced. In close type cards, I hide a word in sentences and fill it by clicking the answer button. In image occlusion enhanced, I add an image. For example, when I want to learn the word vessel, which is armchair, I put an armchair image and answer is behind. So I hide it by image occlusion, and when I click the answer button, it appears. And sometimes I add a link or a video behind, which reminds me the word better. For example, in this vessel example, I usually benefit from this video.
King in the castle, king in the castle. Have a chair, I have a chair.
Which is really ridiculous and which makes me remember better. When I see that person and when he yells, I repeat it in German, like du hast ein Sessel, du hast ein Sessel, like pointing at him, which I won't do in here because embarrassing. However, I don't always use this method, just for the words that I can't remember, even if how much I try to memorize it. But just using an image without any translation is more beneficial than the learning by translation. Even if without these ridiculous things, just learning by image is better than translation. And Anki is the best step for it, I think, because you can study these flashcards that you make daily, or you can just get some flashcards from the community. Now for the resources I use. In my opinion, Busuu and Drops are the best language learning apps for beginners to intermediate learners. Busuu offers a fun learning plan and includes puzzles that test not only reading but also comprehension, enhancing both grammar and vocabulary skills. Drops is a unique app that teaches 45 languages using not only translations but also images. Words are grouped into subjects with an average of 12 words per subject. You learn through gamified exercise like this. After completing both Busuu and Drops, my favorites are the series and fun learning methods. Learning while having fun keeps me engaged and motivated. But for advanced levels, the resources for each language tend to diverse, and there aren't any apps, as far as I know, that covers C1 and C2 level of every language, like the beginner and intermediate ones. They do them for nearly every language, but for C1 and C2 levels tend to diverge. For this reason, I would recommend you to check out YouTube channels, as they often provide for material to learn from beginner to advanced level. And another thing I want to mention is the channels, of course, because some channels like BBC and DV, they often have C1 and C2 levels on their language learning sites from internet. That was all for today. I hope you find this video helpful. If you would like to support me and want YouTube algorithm to recommend you like these videos, You can interact the video by liking, commenting, and sharing it, and also by subscribing it. I wish you a great day. Take care.